Good morning, beautiful people from Walking Tall. So, my mom just woke me up and she wanted me to share a story with you. So, she said, tell them about the picture the doctor had by my bed. And so, as a child, I was always using my imagination. We grew up very, very poor. We had a TV with four push channels. It was black and white. Um, well, we didn't have cable or books even really. And so we were always sent outside to use our imagination. And I'm so grateful for my mother kicking us out of the house. Um, but I woke up on my vision board with the vision of one of the pictures I had drawn for her. And I was in high school. When I was a child, they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I wanted to be an astronaut and a doctor. And so, one day I drew this picture and it was me and I was wearing all white and I had my hand, I was holding a child's hand and I had this big smile and I went to go show it to my mother, and I'm a teenager and wanted to go show it to my mother. My necklace is all twisted. I literally just rolled out of bed. Okay. And so I go to show her this picture and she's like, oh my God, my family called me Abigail growing up. It wasn't really quite a girl, it wasn't really quite a boy. And so they termed me Abigail. I loved it. She was like, oh my gosh, Abigail, love it. Tell me about it. And so I told her about it. And I said, I want to be a doctor for children and I want to help children. They just need love and protection. And it had this whole story. Okay. And I was so impassioned and so driven and my mom, her eyes lit up and she's just listening to all my stories always, which is so much amazement. And she was like, I'm gonna put it by my bed and you're gonna be a doctor. That's what you're gonna be, a doctor. And that's what you're gonna be. And so she got some scotch tape and I followed her into her bedroom and she took the scotch tape and she put it right by her side of the bed. This picture I drew for her. Fast forward, despite the chaos and the trauma that was going on in the home, I worked my ass off in school. I loved learning. I loved science and math and art and music. I loved it all. And so I put all of my energy into learning and into art and expressing myself, and sports too. I was a real big jock. And so I put all my energy into these things that lit up my soul and brought me lots of joy and happiness. And I worked so hard and I applied to schools. I went out and worked at this Jewish summer sleepaway camp when I was a year out of high school, and I was taking classes at a community college, and my mom had kicked me out at that point because she found out I was lesbian and in love with a girl named Margot. We were writing letters back and forth, and my mom opened the letter and kicked me out. And so, but she kicked me out into my path, right? And so I find this ad for this sleepaway camp, and I say, this is where I'm going. I'm going to upstate New York. Never left Texas. And so I go and I meet Margot. And Margot tells me all about this other world of privilege and money and art schools and Baruch College and Barnard College and Rutgers. And, I had so many questions. And so she wrote this list out for me of colleges I should apply to. And I said, I'm really poor. I don't have money for college. Can you put an asterisk next to the colleges on the list that that have scholarships and money for me? One of my dreams is to play college softball. And so she put an asterisk, and one of the schools was St. Francis College. And so I get home after, a summer of love, and I started applying to colleges. And I applied to St. Francis. And out of all the colleges, I got rejection letter, rejection letter, rejection letter. And I kept applying. I knew it was my meal ticket. I knew I had to get a scholarship in order to get out of Texas and out of the situation I was in. And around like-minded people, at that point in time, I shaved my head and everybody was calling me Sinead O'Connor. Not in a good way, okay? And so I got accepted to St. Francis College, and I made the softball team. So 2 big dreams, right, checked off, and it was my determination, my hard work. And I would visualize and see myself, right, in these places. And, I never visited the college in New York. And so fast forward, I made the softball team. I played softball, ended up transferring to Rutgers. I wanted more of a challenge and got scholarship, partial, right, and worked 6 jobs through college. And I set out with God put dreams in my heart and visions in my heart, despite the tragedy, despite the circumstances that I had to go up against, and the monstrosities I had to go up against. God put everything inside of me, all the gifts and the tools I needed to succeed. But the catch was, I had to follow them through. I had to take the aligned action and take the right action towards my goals. But God kept speaking to me and kept showing me these doors, right, that would open if I walked through them. And I did. And so when I got to Rutgers, I studied science, and I was pre-med, and was in these auditoriums with 400, 500 kids from all over the world, right? Brainiacs. So I was pre-med, working 5 part-time jobs. I also worked at a summer camp during the summer through college, and always thinking about the children and science and healing. But it got to a point where I couldn't keep up with the course load. I didn't have the time to put towards my studies because I was trying to survive and pay my rent and pay for my car, my food, and all the things, right? I didn't have parents to write home to ask for a check. I didn't. But God gave me all the skills, all the tools that I needed to succeed with hard work and determination and never giving up. And let me tell you, it took me almost 7 years to finish college, but I did, and I finished. I finished through my grandmother's death, who was like my mother to me, and my grandfather's death, who was like my father to me. And, that was back in the 2000s, right? And went into the high-tech industry, but always returning to children, always returning to healing. And I woke up, my mom, she's like, tell them about the doctor picture. Tell them about how you did it and how God showed you the way. And so here I am, I have my own studio, my own healing space, and these are gifts from God. This is divine justice for staying true in my faith, for staying true to God's vision for me on this planet at this time, showing me how to heal myself so that I was able to walk through the darkness to the light. Why? Not just for myself, not just for my own benefit, but for the benefit of the entire world. For whoever so desires to seek knowledge and seek information and seek the light will be given to you over and over and over again. The answers will be given for those who are consistent and seek and who persevere, right? Who sacrifice. People don't really talk about sacrifice for God and sacrifice for joy and peace. But if you look at all the great people, the great spiritual icons in the world, right? Like the freedom fighters and those who were the front lines speaking for the people during war and famine and Hitler, right? They never lost faith. The candle of faith stayed lit. They knew, and God placed visions in their hearts for the long haul and what was to come, right? And we're not always shown the next step. We're not always shown what will come, and there are reasons for this spiritual protection. Some of it is, would we really go through with it if we knew it was coming? And I can honestly say there are quite a few instances where I would have been like, God, peace out. I am totally out. Walking Tall is out. Like, if I would have seen it fully, that's where the trust comes in. Trusting ourselves, listening to our intuition. And the other thing is isolation and solitude. There is a season for everything. And being able to discern when is it time to go inward and listen and get still and love, and when is it time for action. I was on my way to Charlotte the other morning, okay? And I'm driving in the car and I'm going through my gratitude list. Thank you, God, for this car. Her name is Jenny. I named my car after my mom, and she's been struggling lately. And so I say prayers over her every morning. And I said, thank you, God, for my work. Thank you, God, for my health. Thank you, God, for healing my mind and my body and my spirit, all going through my gratitude list, okay? Thank you, ancestors, for lighting the torch and lighting the way. And then I ask, I love asking for signs and symbols, okay? And so it's kind of a game now that I play with God and my angels. And so I say, okay, here it is. I'm just going to be honest. Like, this is really tough right now, and I need you to give me a sign. I need it to be clear as day. I need a sign. Show me you're with me, right? So I'm driving and I get into Charlotte and then get on the on the highway, right? I take back roads, but now I'm on the highway. So as soon as I get on the highway, this huge petro truck, right? The ones that carry the gasoline, it's huge, right? It pulls right in front of me. And on the back of that rig, it says, "You and me, no distractions." I just start cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh, thank you. Y'all nailed it. I see you. So just a little first in the morning storytelling time with Walking Tall. Write out the visions that are placed on your heart. Post them on your wall. I also do post-it notes, sticky wall with visions, all different colors. Every single vision, thought, idea that pops in, write it down. That is you encoding it into the universe, into the fabric of the supercomputer, super consciousness, okay? So, thank you, Mom. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Today is a 222 portal, and if you're in North Carolina, Central North Carolina, come down to Geithner Park in Hickory. We'll be hosting a community drum circle, dancing, singing, drumming. I hope to see you there. I love you so much.